1, graphing quadratic functions in standard form. Copy and complete the table of values for the function. So number 4, we have the function y equals negative 3x squared. And the table they give us, x values negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. And we have to fill in the y values. So if I plug in negative 2 for x, what do I get? Negative 12. If I plug in negative 1. Negative 3. If I plug in 0.
0.
Plug in 1.
3.
Negative 3. Plug in 2.
Negative 12.
Negative 12.
Wait, so negative 2 equals 2. Really? That's magic.
Okay, now to the actual graphing part. It also says to compare, but we're not doing the and compare part. We're just doing the graphing part. 8, y equals 5x squared. So I need to use my formula to find my axis of symmetry and also to find my vertex. And then I'm going to graph the function. So the axis of symmetry, AOS, occurs at x equals negative b over 2a. So the a, b, and c that'll be in some of the different formulas that we have are the same as like they would be when you're using the quadratic formula. So in this case, this is a, b is 0 because there's no x term and there's no constant term, so there's also no c. So when I do this, I'm going to have x equals 0 over 2 times 5, which is 0. So my axis of symmetry is at x equals 0. It is a line. If you do not write it that way, it will be wrong. So this is the first part of what I need. I also need to find the vertex, which the good news is the vertex is always on the axis of symmetry. So I already know the x value of my vertex is going to be 0. I just need to find the y value. Anyone have any idea how I might find the y value since I know the x value?
Absolutely. Oh, substitution.
Plug in 0 for x. So y equals 5 times 0 squared, which is 0. So that means that my vertex is at 0, 0. The ones that only have one little piece here, those are going to be your favorite ones because they're always going to be at the vertex of 0, 0. So now we need to graph it. You do not need graph paper for this.
Hooray.
I'm not going to stop you if you want to use it, but you don't need it.
Is it possible to do this on a calculator?
Yeah, but I'm not going to let you. All right, so the first thing we do is put our axis of symmetry on the graph. So we put a dotted line wherever that occurs. And I also want you to label it AOS so that I can clearly see where your axis of symmetry is. All right, my vertex is at 0, 0, so I put a point there. Now, I need to find another point on the graph. So, the axis of symmetry means that on the left side, it's going to look just like it does on the right side. Okay, it's hence the symmetry part. So if I go 1 away on the right side and get a value, that's going to be the same value on the left. So all you have to do is find one other point and you can graph the whole function. So I always pick an easy number like 1. I wouldn't go recommending that you pick 5, because if you plug in 5 up here, you're going to end up with a lovely 125, and I don't think you want to graph 125. So I usually stick to 1 or 0 if that's an option, and sometimes that still can give you an exorbitant number, so it's just the reality. But I'm going to stick with 1. So when I plug in 1, so I have y equals 5 times 1 squared, I get that y equals 5. So that means I have a point at 1, 5. So over 1 and then up 5. Now, if I have a point 1 away on the right, where's my other point? So at negative 1, 5. And then I have my lovely parabola. Now, key thing, this needs to be rounded, not this, because what kind of graph is this?
Parabola.
This would be an absolute value function if it's pointed. I'm graphing parabolas, so it needs to be rounded. Obviously, this one, it looks a little more pointed, but you can still tell I've rounded it off down there. So I am going to be picky about that. It's 2 different kinds of graphs. All right, another thing about these graphs that you may or may not know yet, but what direction is this open?
Up.
You know why?
Because it's positive.
It's positive, okay? So there's a positive here, so this one opens up. If it's negative, it's going to open down. Number 10.
Wait, if the axis of symmetry is negative, or if your vertex is negative? If it's
The number in front of the x squared is negative.
yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Don't call me stupid.
So y equals negative x squared. What is this one going to do?
It's gonna be
Go
vertical.
downy.
Opens down. So I need to find my axis of symmetry, which is at x equals minus b over 2a. So 0 over 2 times negative 1, which is 0. So x equals 0. Vertex is where?
It's gonna start at 0, and you plug that in. So
What happens when I
also
put in
It's gonna
0?
be a 0, 0.
So if the only term that you have is the squared term and nothing else, the vertex is always going to be at 0, 0. You don't need to show anything for that. So graphing this one. So I know this one's opening down, and I know that my vertex is at 0, 0. That means that the absolute highest point on the graph that I can have is 0, 0. So I don't even really need this top piece of this graph. So I can just even do something like that. Now, I don't care if you have it. I'm just saying for reference for you.
Yeah.
So I need to put my axis of symmetry on the graph. And label it.
Keep writing
All right, so my vertex is at 0, 0. I need to find another point. What am I going to need? What do I do?
One.
So if I plug in 1, what do I get?
Negative 1.
That means I put a point here, and what also happens?
It goes on the other side.
Same thing on the other side. And round it off and make your graph. Whoa, that was bad. Oh no.
Oh
back.
no.
I got it back.
That was very
under
close.
control.
To what?
Close. You know, closet is close.
Oh,
Yeah. Wow. Is that closed?
You need like flex your legs really hard.
All right, so those are ones that just have x squared. So now we're going to move into ones that have some other pieces to them. So 14, y equals 4x squared plus 1.
The y-intercept's gonna be a 1.
So, what does this graph do?
It's gonna open up a.
Opens up.
Negative,
How do I find my axis of symmetry?
negative 1 over 2 times 4.
There's no B. It's
There's no b because b is attached to what letter? The x by itself. So, it's 0 over 2 times 4, which is
What?
0. So my axis of symmetry is at x equals 0 still.
Potato meat stop.
I don't know why.
All right, I need to find my vertex.
0,
It is not at 0, 0. The x coordinate is 0 because it has to be whatever the axis of symmetry value is. But I need to plug 0 into this equation. When I plug in 0 for x, what do I get?
1.
So the vertex is at 0, 1. Now, if you don't show the work for this, that's fine. But if you get it wrong, I can't give you partial credit. But I trust that at this point, you can easily plug in a number and solve for it. So what do I do now?
You got it.
Graph it. All right, so axis of symmetry is at x equals 0 still. Vertex is at 0, 1, so it's now just still on the x-axis but shifted up 1. What are you going to plug in?
1.
And what do you get when you do that?
2. Wait. 5. That was a closer thing.
5, so at 1, 5. Where else do I have a point?
Right there on the other side of the graph.
What point is that?
Negative 1.
Negative 1.
Negative 1, 5.
Actually,
So this one's gonna be a little harder to round off, but I'm looking at the, like, these pieces of the graph are rounded like a U, not like a V.
so there's no real solution then.
it's brown.
We're just graphing.
Okay.
We're not solving the equation.
Wouldn't it be the point that they're touching at? Awesome.
It doesn't have any zeros.
The math calculator did this
I already
No.
asked that question.
Yeah. And we don't want it.
And my response was,
Not today.
Yes, but she's
Not
not
today,
gonna
sir.
teach us that.
We're just graphing today.
my answer was specifically yes, but I'm not gonna let you do that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Y equals 3x squared minus 6x plus 4. What's different about this one?
This
It
was
has
gonna
a
be.
B.
This one's gonna have a b because there's another x term here. So, which direction does this one open?
It's gonna open up.
Yep, this one's up.
Where's
Axis of symmetry, so minus b over 2a, so negative. B is negative, so times negative 6 over 2 times a is 3. What does that give me?
Oh wait, I know what it's gonna be. 6/6, which is 6, 1.
I thought
1. So x equals 1 is my axis of symmetry.
B was the one.
Dang, stop, right?
Only
That's in a line. This is not a line. This is a parabola.
B, okay. Where is it? What happened to A?
B is just representing a number
I don't know.
in front of x. Clearly you don't, because you just said B is the intercept.
Yeah, because B is always a line.
In a line. This is not an equation of a
You
line.
can reuse letters for different formulas. It's okay.
I don't know if you know this, but in one problem we had x was equal to 4, and another one x was equal to 10.
What?
Well, that's because X.
Cool. I thought we were asking about B.
X can be multi-identification.
So can any other letters. X is just a letter like the other letters.
It has to be uppercase B.
Okay, vertex.
1.
So we plug it in. 3 times 1 squared minus 6 times 1 plus 4.
1.
That comes out to be 1. So the vertex is at 1, 1.
Yep. That's what I got. Wrote that right on my paper.
All right, so when I graph it, I have axis of symmetry at x equals 1. I have a vertex at 1, 1. So now I need to find another point on the graph. This is one where I would recommend you use 0 because it makes life so much easier, because otherwise you're plugging in 2 and having to do more math, whereas 0 makes everything cancel. So I plug in 0, I get 3 times 0 minus 6 times 0 plus 4, so y equals. So at 0 it's 4. Now, this one's a little different. I'm 1 away on this side, so this point was at 0, 4. 1 away over here is going to be at 2, 4.
Whoa.
On G.
Oh yeah, we did. Me and Will.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember what it is, but because we stole it.
All right, 24. Y equals negative 2x squared minus 6x plus 3.
This one's down.
This one's going to be down. Need to find my axis of symmetry. How do I do that?
Oh,
Oh wait, I know.
you. Positive 6.
Negative B over 2A. So we got negative. So we got positive 6 over 2. What is that?
2 times.
I think 2
times
times main
3.
character
2
now.
times 2. 2 times negative 2.
Yeah. No.
Negative 2. Negative 3. Wait. Positive 6 over negative 4 is negative 3.
All right, so my axis of symmetry is at x equals negative 3 over 2. So my vertex, I know the x coordinate, I need to find the y. So now we got negative 2 times negative 3 halves squared minus 6 times negative 3 halves plus 3.
Uh-oh.
It's okay.
And you're going to find this happens a lot.
No, I don't like it happening at all.
It's a 1.
What happens when I square this?
One
You
squared.
you put the
It's
2's
1.
inside of everything.
It's 1.
Don't you just flip it?
What do I get? Y'all should know what the exponents are doing by now. I'm asking what you get.
You actually get
9 over 4.
4.
3 squared is 9. 2 squared is 4. So this is negative 2 times 9 over 4.
Where did the negative go?
You square something,
Squared.
Negative 3
multiply it by
squared
negative
times negative 3 squared.
Sees the big character.
That's
Then over here I've got plus, I would reduce this, 9 plus 3. When I reduce this right here, I'm going to get negative 9 over 2. You need to get a common denominator. Common denominator for this is going to be
22. No.
Wait.
18.
what's the common denominator?
2.
2.
2.
Okay, if you want to go ahead and combine this and say 12, so then 24 over 2, that's fine.
What did we get? Yes, I got it now. No, he doesn't.
So I've got, what, 15 over 2. So the y-coordinate of the vertex is 15 over 2. This is where I was going to tell you, yes, you may be able to do a lot of this math in your head.
No, I can't do it on
This
my
you're
paper.
going to need to do it on your paper.
I don't know.
And you will not have a calculator.
Is it okay if when we're done with this, I ask Daniel to teach me how to do fractions? I don't know how to.
She's a math teacher.
I don't know how to do
Never.
fractions either.
All right, so graphing.
Oh, I can graph this. Not lying. I know how to
Don't
do
lie
graph.
to us.
I can graph. I just know how to do graph.
Oh, goodness, 15 over 2 is high.
Graphing fractions.
Mine doesn't know what prepositions are.
8.
Word math. That's right. Let's talk about that.
Isn't it like
15 over 2 is approximately what?
7 halves?
Okay, 7.5. So I need to go up to 8 on my graph. I know that it opens down, so I have no need to go higher than that.
ASOS. I'm in AOS.
All right, axis of symmetry is at negative 3 halves, so that's negative 1.5.
Negative 3 halves.
My vertex is at negative 3 halves and 15 over 2, so that's going to be up here. Now, I need to pick another number to plug in. This is where I often will still choose 0. It's 1.5 away. It could give me a crazy number, but I at least know it's going to cancel this stuff. So I can see that it's going to be
3.
3. So at 0, 3. That's 1.5 away. So I need to go 1.5 away on the other side. So at 3, 3, I have a point. And graph your parabola. All right, you're going to have all of class tomorrow to do these problems. So that way you can ask questions and stuff if you need to.
Stop.
During class tomorrow, you will also need to have notes for 4.2 done. Okay? They are technically due tomorrow. So when I look at them on Thursday, when we start 4.2, don't be like, we couldn't have homework, because technically, according to Google Classroom, they are due tomorrow. But if you want to do them in class, that's fine once you finish this stuff.
Dang, I was about to do my notes.
You get
3, 7, 11, 13,
Stop wording that. It's done.
23, and 25.
I'll do my work.
You said we're doing the homework tomorrow.
And if everybody does this tonight, we'll start the next section tomorrow.